Alrighty, guys. Welcome to the video here today for Sunday, December 18th, 2022. And if you find yourself enjoying this video here today, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. I'd love to connect with you on a daily basis. And of course, when it comes to hitting that thumbs up button, there's power in that thumb. You have no idea how much clicking that like button helps the channel out, lets more people find me, and I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Seems like something so simple, but I really do appreciate it. And once again, like I said, if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. Now, for those of you out there who don't already know, my name is Brock Page. I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. And when the live stream here ends, I'll include a link for that site in the description section below. But once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. You can punch in brockpage.com as well, and it'll redirect you right to it. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into some NFL action here. We're going to take a look at the Falcons at the Saints, 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. New Orleans is -4, totals 43.5. Now, the Saints are playing some pretty tough defense at times, despite their recent struggles. They do have a top 10 passing defense, and they also allow fewer yards per play on defense than most teams in the NFC. Now, Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, they have a dozen sacks between the two of them. They're facing an Atlanta team here today who lost 4 out of their last 5, and they have only 1 win on the road this year. Now, the Falcons are also little to no threat throwing the football. These guys have thrown for only 152 yards a game while traveling. Now, injury-wise, Chuma Edoga is out with a knee. Meanwhile, for the Saints, Williams and Bond are out for them. Lattimore, Gray, Johnson, Turner, and Werner are questionable. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, the Saints saw 5 out of their last 6 stay under the number. Atlanta went 4-2 to the under in their last 6 themselves. I'm going to lean toward New Orleans -4, under 43.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Cowboys, Jaguars, 1 o'clock Eastern start time. Dallas is -4, totals 47.5. Now, the Cowboys won their last 4 straight, and they're allowing just 17 points a game on the road. Now, Dallas has also got themselves one of the tougher secondaries in the league. They're allowing only 179 yards a game through the air. When it comes to this Dallas pass rush, Micah Parsons and Dorrance Armstrong, they've combined for 20 sacks between the both of them. Now, they're facing a Jags team who averages only 19 points a game offensively in Jacksonville. And out of Jacksonville's last 10 games, they got the W only 3 times. Now, injury-wise, Cisco, Walker, and Muma are questionable. Meanwhile, for Dallas, Dorrance Armstrong is a little banged up with an ankle, so keep an eye on his status by kickoff, although I am pretty optimistic he will end up playing. Now, when it comes to the weather report, warm and sunny, 60 degrees by kickoff. And when it comes to the total, the Jags have gone 5-1 of the under in their own stadium. Meanwhile, Dallas saw unders against the likes of Minnesota, Detroit, and the Rams. I'm going to lean toward Dallas -4, under 47.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Lions at the Jets, 1 o'clock Eastern start time. The New York Jets are -1, totals 43. And as hot as the Lions have been, I do think this is a good spot for New York to get back on track. Their defense allows just 18 points a game, and they're in the top 3 in fewest yards allowed per play. Meanwhile, the Lions on the other side, as good as they've been recently, well, they're scoring only 18 points a game while traveling, so they're having a hard time offensively away from home. Now, they're going to have to look out for C.J. Mosley, who's got a team best 125 tackles for the Jets. Meanwhile, Quinn Williams leads the team with 11 sacks, really doing a nice job with that pass rush. Now, they're facing a Lions team who has a losing record away from home, and they really struggle on defense. And aside from giving up 27 points a game, the Lions are also allowing more yards per play than any other team in the NFL. Now, injury-wise, Ragnow is questionable. Barnes is out. Meanwhile, for New York, Davis, White, and Eccles are out. Quinn Williams is banged up a little bit as well. I was just talking about him. So keep an eye on his status. Looks like Zach Wilson is going to get the starting nod at quarterback. When it comes to the weather report, mostly sunny in a chilly 37 degrees by game time. When it comes to the total, New York did see overs in 2 out of their last 3. Meanwhile, Detroit's 69% to the over for the entire season. No real surprise there. I'm going to lean toward the Jets, -1 over 43. Next ballgame, Chiefs. Texans, 1 o'clock Eastern start time. Kansas City's -14, totals 48. Now the Chiefs are scoring a league best 33 points a game on the road, and they gain more yards per play than any other club in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, he's thrown for nearly 4,200 yards. He actually leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce is over 1,000 yards receiving again. Now, they're facing a Houston defense who gives up 25 points a game at home, and they simply just can't get off the football field. The Texans are dead last in defense at time of possession. And no real surprise here, guys. Houston's yet to win a football game in their own building this year. Now, injury-wise, McCray is questionable. Cooks, Nelson, and Collins are out. Meanwhile, for Kansas City, Jones and Toney are questionable for them. When it comes to the total, 5 out of KC's last 7 on the road got over the number. Meanwhile, for Houston, they saw overs against the likes of Dallas, Philadelphia, and Las Vegas. I'm going to lean toward Kansas City, -14, and the over 48 in the chalky lean. All right, next game, Eagles-Bears, 1 o'clock East. Philadelphia's -8 on the road. Totals 48.5. Now, the Birds are averaging nearly 29 points a game, and they're in the top 5 in rushing. And when it comes to defensive play, they allow fewer passing yards a game than any other team in the NFL. James Bradbury and Darius Slay, they have 6 interceptions combined out of that secondary. Meanwhile, Hassan Reddick has double-digit sacks on the year. Kind of funny seeing him wear number 7 on defense. It looks like Michael Vick playing on the edge there. But anyway, they're facing a Chicago team who lost their last 6 straight, and they have just 1 win since September 25th. Now, these guys have been no threat throwing the football. They're heaving it for just 140 yards a game through the air. When it comes to the injury report, Harry, Vildor, and Borum are questionable. Claypool and Wesco are out. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, Reed Blankenship is out for them. Goddard's still out as well. When it comes to the weather report, very cold and windy in Chicago. Typical December weather, 24 degrees and 15-mile-an-hour winds by game time. When it comes to the total, the Bears, believe it or not, they've gone 9-4 to the over for the entire season. Plenty of overs for them. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is 69% to the over for the whole year themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Eagles, -8, over 48.5. Next game, Steelers, Panthers, 1 o'clock East. Carolina's -2, totals 37. Now, the Panthers got the W in 3 out of their last 4 ball games, and they've actually been one of the better covering teams in the league lately. They're 6-1 against the spread since October 23rd, and they've still got a winning record at home. Now, these guys are allowing only 18 points a game in Charlotte, and they're in the top 10 in fewest yards allowed per play at home. Brian Burns has 10.5 sacks on the season. Shaq Thompson leads the D with 98 tackles. Now, they're facing a Pittsburgh team who actually has themselves a losing record on the road, and they're averaging only 15 points a game in their travels. Now, no real surprise here, guys. This Steelers offensive unit, they're in the bottom 3 in yards per play from scrimmage. When it comes to the injury report, Kenny Pickett is out. Miles Jack is doubtful. Looks like we're going to see Mitch Trubisky in action here today. That's at least what they're saying. I saw some sources say Mitch. Other sources say Mason Rudolph. So if you have any idea, let me know in the comments section below. I really don't think it matters because I'm not leaning towards Pittsburgh in this one. But once again, Kenny Pickett is out. Miles Jack is doubtful. Meanwhile, for Carolina, Woods, Moore, and Chenault are questionable. Brandon Smith is out. When it comes to the total, weather-wise, real quick, sunny and a brisk 42 degrees by game time. When it comes to the total, 5 out of Carolina's last 7 at Bank of America Stadium stayed under the number. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh is 62% to the under for the whole year. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Carolina -2 in the under 37. All right, next matchup, Cardinals, Broncos, 405 East. Denver is -2, totals 36.5. Now, the Broncos are scoring fewer points a game than any other team in the NFL. They're averaging only 14 points per contest, and they got the W only one time since September 25th. Now, they're facing an Arizona team who somehow still has a winning record on the road. As a matter of fact, this Cardinal defense allows fewer yards per play on the road than most clubs in the NFC. Budda Baker leads the charge with 95 tackles, along with 4 PBUs. Meanwhile, Zaven Collins, he's right behind him with 79 tackles, along with 8 TFLs. Now, injury-wise, Washington, Coward, Wilson, and Brown are questionable. Allen and Murphy are out. Meanwhile, for Denver, Wilson, Sutton, and Hitton are out. Beck, Reisner, Jones, and Williams are questionable. The starting QBs today will be Brett Rippin for Denver and Colt McCoy for Arizona. At least that's what I'm seeing on reports. When it comes to the weather, mostly sunny and 40 degrees by kickoff in Denver. Now, total-wise, Denver's 5-1 to the under at Mile High Stadium, 11-2 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, Arizona saw 3 out of their last 5 on the road stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Cardinals +2, under 36.5. Next matchup, Patriots, Raiders, 405 East. Las Vegas is -2, totals 45. Now, I don't think the Raiders are playing good enough defense to get the job done here. They have a bottom 5 passing defense, and they're also allowing over 5.9 yards per play in their own building. They're facing a New England team who does a good amount of their scoring in the second half. These guys are actually averaging more third-quarter points on the road than any other team in the league. And when it comes to defensive play, they're allowing only 18 points a game. Matthew Judon, he's second in the league in sacks with 14.5. Jawan Bentley is a team best 87 tackles. And when it comes to the injury report, Parker and Mills are out. Jones, Stevenson, Myers, and Harris are questionable. Meanwhile, for the Raiders, Perryman and Billings are questionable. Bars, Yassine, and Brown, they are inactive. Now, total-wise, 4 out of the Raiders' last 5 in Las Vegas got over the number. New England saw overs against the likes of Minnesota, Chicago, and Cleveland. I'm going to lean toward New England +2, over 45. Next game, Bengals, Bucks, 425 East. Cincinnati's -3, totals 46. Now, the Bengals are on a 5-game winning streak, and they've been the best covering team in the league over the past few months. Since he's 9-1 against the spread in their last 10, and they throw for more yards a game than most teams in the league. Joe Burrow's 5th in the NFL in passing yards with nearly 3,700 of them. His 27 touchdowns are also 3rd in the NFL as well. He's facing a Tampa squad who's one of the worst covering teams in football. The Bucs are just 1-6 against the spread in Raymond James Stadium. And as far as the whole year is concerned, Tampa Bay covered the point spread just 3 times. Now, the Bucs' biggest problem, believe it or not, is their offensive production. They're scoring only 18 points a game, and they actually rush for a league-worst 62 yards a game at home. Now, when it comes to the injury report, Jones, Murphy, Bunting, Wirfs, and Winfield, they are all questionable. Meanwhile, Dean and Vea are out. Meanwhile, for Cincy on the other side, Hilton, Hurst, they are out. T. Higgins is questionable with a sore hammy. When it comes to the weather report, mostly sunny and 66 degrees by game time. No real shocker there. Nice time of year to be in South Florida. Now, total-wise, 5 out of the Bucks' last 7 in Tampa stayed under the number. Meanwhile, Cincy's 5-2 to the under in their last 7 while traveling. I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati -3, under 46. Next matchup, Titans, Chargers, 425 East. The LA Chargers are -3, totals 46.5. Now, I am actually pretty concerned about LA's defense in this one. These guys allow 28 points a game at home, and they're in the bottom 3 in yards allowed per play in their own building. They're facing a Tennessee team who rushes for nearly 140 yards a game while traveling. Derrick Henry, he's just a yard shy of 1,200 for the season. He scored 11 times on the ground as well. When it comes to defensive play, I wouldn't look for LA to gain many yards on the ground themselves. The Titans have the #1 rush defense on the road in the league. David Long and Kevin Byard, they have over 165 tackles combined. When it comes to the injury report, Autry, Hilliard, Fulton, Burks, and Avery, they are all out. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, Callahan, James, and Pipkins, they are listed as questionable. When it comes to the total in this one, LA saw overs against the likes of Arizona, Kansas City, and Seattle. Meanwhile, 3 out of Tennessee's last 4 got over the line. I'm going to lean toward the Titans +3, over 46.5. And with that, we're going to jump into our next and final NFL breakdown for the video. I'm talking about Sunday Night Football. It is going to be Giants at the Commanders, 8:20 Eastern kickoff. Now, Washington is -5 at home, totals 40. Washington does have a tough time scoring in Landover. They're averaging only 18 points a game in front of their own fans. They're also gaining fewer yards per play than most teams in the NFC. They're facing a Giants D who really tends to shut it down late in games. They're actually in the top 10 in the league in fewest fourth-quarter points allowed on the road. Julian Love has a team-best 107 tackles. Meanwhile, Dexter Lawrence and Azeez Ojulari, they have double-digit sacks between the both of them. Now, injury-wise, Williams and Bellinger are questionable. Izeidu, Lemieux, and Jackson are out. When it comes to the weather, clear but cold in Landover, 33 degrees by game time. When it comes to the total, the Commanders are 9-4 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, New York's gone 62% to the under for the whole year themselves. I'm going to lean toward New York +5, under 40. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Had to get the video out early, so I can't go through the breakdowns of NBA and college basketball and NHL. We got to get this content out, but I am going to give you quick picks on those sports. But we're going to start in the NFL. I like New Orleans -4, under 43.5. Dallas -4, under 47 and a hook. New York Jets -1, over 43. Kansas City -14, over 48. Philadelphia -8, over 48.5. Carolina -2, under 37. Arizona +2, under 36.5. New England +2, over 45. Cincinnati -3, under 46. Tennessee +3, over 46.5. And with my next and final free pick in the NFL, I like the Giants +5, under 40. And with that, we're going to jump into some NBA quick picks. I like Boston -10, over 223. New York Knicks +1, over 227. Brooklyn -8, under 229. Toronto -5.5, under 224. Chicago -1, over 231. Denver -8, over 235.5. With my next and final NBA pick, give me the Lakers -4, under 236. And with that, we're going to jump into some college basketball action. I like Penn State -19, under 137. Harvard -10, under 136.5. UMBC -6, over 140. Iowa State -23, under 130. Texas -10.5, over 132. Army -2 under 139. Illinois Chicago -2 over 135.5. High Point +8 over 146. Bucknell -7 under 131. Norfolk -5.5 over 139 and a hook. Chattanooga -4.5 over 151. Georgia State -2.5 under 128. Albany +16 under 133. James Madison -29 over 155. Mount St. Mary's -3 under 129. Quinnipiac -5 under 134. Elon +9 over 138. Niagara -3 under 123. Eastern Michigan +5 under 155. Southern Miss -14 under 137. Oregon State -16 under 129. Air Force -2.5 under 125. Texas San Antonio -4 under 141. Boise State -20 under 140.5. UAB -18 under 157. Hampton +5.5 over 141. Buffalo Bulls +20 over 152. Colorado Buffaloes -15 under 151.5. Santa Clara -10 under 133. Cleveland State +9 over 135.5. Auburn -1.5 over 140 and a hook. Georgia +3 under 133.5. TCU -32 over 133. Seattle -12 over 140. Central Michigan +13 over 133.5. New Mexico -2 over 150. UT Rio Grande -7 over 162.5. Arizona State -11.5 under 142. St. Mary's -11.5 under 131 and a hook. With my next and final free pick in college basketball, give me Baylor -10 under 139.5. Julius Caesar, what's up? Thanks for the comment. And finally, we're going to jump into the NHL. I like Ottawa +1.5 over 6. Pittsburgh +$1 under 6 goals. New York Rangers -1.5 over 6. Winnipeg +$1.20 under 6 goals. With my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Calgary -170 over 6. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a package here today, just keep in mind you're going to get access to that content for the next 30 days. And, of course, as an added bonus, I'm also going to throw in all my cheaper memberships for you absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Obviously, the last couple of days, we did the live stream here. Probably going to get back to our pre-recorded videos during the week, but we got to go live and get the picks out before the games start. So typically, we might start doing that just on weekends, just kind of going live and just getting the picks out instead of posting them 30 minutes before the early slate starts. But anyway, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.